Magda, you're the host. Tell me, are we waiting still or can we start?
I think we can start. We have 27 participants. We are international, so I think we're good to start.
Yeah, definitely international. Okay, so just to introduce ourselves, my name is Magda. I'm translation quality specialist at MD Online. I'm also a translator specializing in medical translation, and I'm a PhD candidate in translation. Here supporting me is our head of translations, Magda,
Yes,
a PhD.
Yes, recent PhD.
Recent PhD, congratulations once again, and a very experienced translator as well. And today we are going to talk about translation memories. I'm going to share my screen with you now and show you a presentation that I have prepared for today. Look, today we talk about translation memories. Last time I told you a lot about what are CAT tools, what different functionalities we have in CAT tools, and we covered in detail the editor. I will send you the link to the previous webinar if you didn't attend it. And today we will be talking about translation memories. Why? Because at MD Online, we strongly believe that quality comes from consistency, and consistency can be easily obtained by means of using computer. It can be very, very beneficial for us to actually use and apply computer in your process of translation. I do that a lot as a translator, and I hope I will be able to show you how I use it and why I'm using it. Today on the agenda, we will have the theoretical part, which would be around 10 minutes. And I will explain to you why working with CAT tools is beneficial, what are the basic features of CAT tools, and I will give you a brief introduction to translation memory. Then we will have a more practical part around, again, circa 10 minutes, in which we will look into a SmartCat project. We chose SmartCat as an example just because this is a widely used CAT tool. It's easily accessible, it's for free, it's online, we use it a lot, but what I will be talking about today can be easily applied in other CAT tools as well. So this is just for example, and you can easily use this knowledge in different CAT tools. Then after the practical part, it will be the time for discussion, again around 10 minutes, where you can ask us any questions that you want. If you have any issues that you need explaining, this will be your time. During the webinar, I will ask you to write in the chat window if you have any problems or difficulties. Magda is having a look there, so she's kind of controlling the situation there, and she will answer all of your questions. And after the theoretical and practical part, we can all join in voice conversation here during the webinar. So let's start. What are the advantages of CAT tools? We talked about it a lot last time. I told you that the translation is way faster, especially in certain texts like manuals, which are highly repetitive. Then we can make translation even 40% faster. I told you that thanks to CAT tools, we have consistent terminology. And this is where translation memory come in very, very useful. CAT tools are translation done solely by a human translator, so we should not see this as a part of machine translation. CAT tools is something absolutely different than machine translation. As you have seen before in SmartCat project, we can use machine translation within CAT tool, although we shouldn't. but it's not equal. And CapTools gave us easier and faster formatting thanks to the automation of formatting. There are three basic functionalities to any CAT tool you may encounter. In this case, today we talk about examples of SmartCat. We have editor, translation memory, and reference files. Editor is this main interface that you work in, so where you type in your translation. Translation memory, I will get to it in a more detailed way in a minute. And the reference files is anything that you get from the client, like maybe some referential text, parallel texts, glossaries, style guides. So everything that you don't want to lose on the way, you can add to your CAT tool project and keep there for good organization, let's say. So the first webinar was on editor. Today we talk about translation memory. What translation memory is? It's a tool created by the translator in course of translation. In case of some CAT tools, you may choose whether you want to translate with translation memory or not. In case of SmartCat, translation memory is created automatically for every single project. And I strongly encourage you to use translation memory every single time you translate something in your CAT tool. Firstly, you will have the text stored in the memory, which is good for further translation activity, but also in case something goes south. For example, your computer shuts down, or you have power shortage. You don't lose your project. Nothing is lost because everything is stored in the translation memory, and it has saved me more than once. You have to trust me on this because this is life-saving. Even if you have like very short deadline, something goes wrong, you can always get the text back from translation memory. Really saves a lot of nerves. So basically, while you translate, your computer, your CAT tool stores everything in the memory. So we have all the text that you have written basically stored in the memory of CAT tool, and you can get the units out of there during the next translation. So if you have any repetition, you don't have to translate it once or twice or multiple times. You just get it back from the translation memory. It also ensures the consistency of terminology because you don't have to look for the synonym that you have used a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, right? You just keep going. Everything is happening smoothly in your translation. Translation memory does not replace translators. It only helps us. Still, we need to place the units in the translation memory. So first time you start using translation memory is completely blank. So basically, we type in everything there is in the translation memory. It's not machine translation. It's not something translated for us. We do the work. What the computer does is just remind us that, hey, you have translated something like this. So I'm going to remind you and put that text there just for you to remember that it was already translated and you can use it. It doesn't mean that you cannot edit it. So once an entry appears from translation memory, you can easily delete it, edit it, or confirm it, whatever you like. So everything is up to you. Okay, and now let's take a look at an actual CAT tool. Is this more used for full segments or just specific words? What translation memory does is analyze words in clusters. So if it sees several if it sees several words clustered together, it's more likely to point it out as a translation memory output than when it's just single words. So it's more for full segments or clusters of words. I also see one more question. How do you export translation memory from previous projects? So I'm going to share my screen once again with you, and I will show you in a SmartCut how you can do this. So I'm sharing my screen with you again. This is our channel. We are very, very proud of it. So if you go in your tasks, so this is your headquarters in SmartCut. You have linguistics assets here. Glossaries, translation memories, global search. Those are linguistic assets which you can obtain in SmartCut. Glossaries we will cover in another webinar. Today we go to translation memories. So these are translation memories from all the projects I have created in SmartCut, in this profile in SmartCut. I can override this translation memory with another translation memory. For example, someone sends me their translation memory from SmartCut or from Trados or from whatever CAT tool. We can update it, or we can export it. We can use default settings or select options, which includes tags, which in easiest way possible means that you can keep the formatting going. TMX is the default mode. You can also export compatible to old Trados and older Trados or newer versions, so 2009 to newer. The newest is 2019 or 2007 for older versions. Older than 2006 did not support translation memories, basically. So it's like 2006 and on to actually have translation memory, or we can even export it to Excel file. And it will show you how it looks like within the CAT tool. So basically CAT tool stores, it's a bilingual table where you have a segment in source language and a translated segment in target language. And it goes through the segments analyzing clusters of words. And if there is more than 75% of clusters similar, it will pop up as a translation memory output. So yeah, this is how you export it. You can delete it, but that would be a pity to delete a translation memory. This is always good source of translation. You can easily edit it. If you want to change anything, add a client, add a subject, anything you can do in edit.